Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to NYY Recaps. Only a couple weeks left in the season for the Yankees to put together one last push to get to the postseason. But first, I wanted to talk about 9/11. Obviously, this is the anniversary. I know some of you are too young to remember 9/11, so I just thought it would be good to pass along my thoughts. There was this whole thing right after 9/11. Never forget 9/11, and they were selling those T-shirts, and people said it for a while, but nobody really talks about it anymore except on 9/11. So I thought I would tell you the story of how I found out about 9/11 and what those last couple days or those next few days after 9/11 were like around the country. So it was a Tuesday morning. I was at college. I was at UNC Wilmington, and I was sitting on the steps outside of the gym in the morning getting ready to go in at 9 a.m. And I was waiting for the coach to unlock the gym so I could get in there and lift some weights. Now, this is back in the day when gyms didn't really have TVs everywhere like they do now. Now the treadmill has a TV built into it, but back then you had to listen to the radio. And as the coach was coming up to unlock the door, he said something along the lines of, a plane hit the World Trade Center, and he was talking to somebody else. And I thought, probably just some idiot flying a Cessna up the Hudson or something like that. And maybe it was a Kennedy, who knows. But then, once we got in and we turned on the radio, we could hear that, there was a huge fire, that this was really bad. And then we heard the second one hit on the radio, and they talked about how this definitely wasn't an accident. They were shouting words like, "This is war." And then you hear the buildings come down on the radio. And it was way worse in my imagination somehow than it even was in reality, where it was really bad. Because I imagined that the buildings were falling onto other buildings, right? That they were tipping over. But they came straight down, still very, very bad, still killed 3,000 people. And I remember that the whole country kind of put aside its, political differences, any kind of, differences that we had, and everybody was just kind of on the same page, like, hey, let's go wreck shop and take down whoever did this, and let's clean up New York, and let's, save as many people as we can. I remember Steve Buscemi volunteered as a firefighter to help dig bodies out, basically. I remember the news for months was just filled with non-stop coverage of 9/11, of Ground Zero, that the area was smoking, for months afterwards. They had trouble putting out the fires. And then the Yankees, they went down and they met with some of the first responders. The Yankees were not having an awesome year in 2001. I mean, they were pretty good, but I didn't really think they were going to make the World Series. They ended up making the World Series. They had that great World Series, which they ended up losing against the Diamondbacks. Scott Brosius and Tino Martinez had those late home runs. Those three middle games of the series, games 3, 4, and 5, were just tremendous. It was some of the best World Series games that I'd ever see. Game 6, Andy Pettitte was tipping his pitches, and the Arizona Diamondbacks just demolished Andy Pettitte. And then Game 7, obviously the pitchers' duel between Curt Schilling and Roger Clemens, one of the all-time great Game 7s. Alfonso Soriano hits a home run late in the game to give the Yankees the lead, but ultimately Mariano Rivera, who had worked a scoreless 8th, had a bit of trouble in the 9th inning, and that was that. So, 2 7-inning games tonight against the Orioles. This is at Yankee Stadium. Good news for the Yankees is that Gleyber Torres has been heating up, and with the Orioles coming to town, that is a combustible situation. I think he had 9 or 10 home runs against the Orioles last year. I can't even remember now. I've got so many stats in my head from this season, but he demolished the Orioles last year. He has not done much against the Orioles this year because he's been struggling, but you notice the other night he switched to wearing the glasses again. That's something I've been saying. He should give Gary Sanchez and Brett Gardner some glasses. But once he switched to the glasses last year, he started really, really hitting. And I don't know why he didn't start the season with them this year, but he put them on, and the other day he had a few hits and a double and a home run, and Gleyber Torres is looking really good. The games will be started by Gerrit Cole and Masahiro Tanaka. Gerrit Cole is 4-3 with a 3.63 ERA, I believe. And his last time out, the numbers were not great, but he looked really good. He had 8 strikeouts through the first 3 innings. He was throwing really hard. He had a really sharp breaking ball. I think he just ran out of gas, and I think that's just going to continue to happen this year. When you can't rely on the bullpen, as we haven't been able to, you have to stretch these starters out longer than maybe they're comfortable with. And in a year where you didn't really have a full spring training, it didn't have the right type of ramp up, you're seeing some guys get hurt, and you're seeing some guys just run out of gas early. I think Gerrit Cole is one of those guys who, once he gets around 105 pitches or so, this season anyway, he really starts to leave a lot of balls over the plate. He starts to lose some of that late life that gets him those strikeouts, and you start to see guys foul balls off and fight balls off into the field, as little duck snort type hits. So, one of the keys for Gerrit Cole tonight is going to be to keep his pitch count in check. Now, last time he actually got off to a really good start through 4 or 5 innings. His pitch count actually wasn't that high despite all the strikeouts, but it wasn't until like the 5th and 6th innings that he really ran into trouble. A lot of guys fouling pitches off. So one of the keys for him is going to be to get quick outs early in the game and save some of those strikeouts for when you need them later in the game. And just basically try and be more efficient with his pitches. I think his stuff has reached the point where he's basically entering his mid-season form, and I think this is a good time to be doing it because that means that, a couple starts from now, when hopefully the Yankees will be entering the postseason, Gerrit Cole will be hitting his stride as the number 1 starter, and that looks like that he might be facing the Tampa Bay Rays in round 1. And with the way that Masahiro Tanaka and Devi Garcia have been pitching, I mean, you could really put Jay Happ in the bullpen and help you get through some of those middle innings in the postseason. I think they're trying to give a look at Clark Schmidt, but I don't think he's ready yet out of the bullpen. His command just isn't good. You want a guy to throw strikes if he's going to come in out of the bullpen, and obviously he hasn't made a major league start yet. So I think Clark Schmidt, though we're getting kind of a small glimpse at him this year, he's going to be more of a guy next year that takes that next step. I don't think that they're going to rely that much on Adam Ottavino because he's been too inconsistent this year. His ERA is over 7. Now, granted, a lot of that is from his last start, but I think the guys you're going to see them go to in the bullpen are going to be the Chad Greens, who, he was pretty good early, then he had a rough patch, now he's been pretty good. His last time out, not as great. I think you're going to see them go to Chad Green and Zach Britton a lot. And then obviously Aroldis Chapman in the 9th. I'm not a huge Aroldis Chapman fan. I mean, look, he's got, I think, an opt-out this year. I'm not sure about his contract status, but I don't think that, if he opts out, the Yankees will re-sign him. I just think given his 100-plus mile-an-hour fastball and his inconsistent command, that he's either, ready to have an injury at some point, or he's just going to be too inconsistent as he ages. But I don't know if he is going to opt out because I don't know if anybody's going to give him that big contract, and he might just want length of years. But look, I'm not an Aroldis Chapman guy. Comment if you agree or if you disagree. But to me, he's just never seemed like the Yankee type. Hey guys, help support the podcast by buying swag from my store. Link is in the description.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It helps YouTube suggest this channel to other Yankees fans.